Hi, welcome back to the channel and to today's video. It's taken a bit longer than today, but it's today. Anyway, today's video has been inspired by AI and AI pictures of crochet projects. With all the photos that are around on social media and on the internet and everywhere, you need to start using them as inspiration. You can't do anything else with them. You can't get a pattern off them, but you can use them to be inspired for your own projects. We've done it with other things and it works. So why not? So I've made a bag for this video, and using the inspiration from AI, I've worked out a system on how to do it, and that is what I'm sharing with you today. So I hope you enjoy it. All right, I think I'm organized now. I've got all my stuff. Got all my yarn, got a pen, got my paper, right. Oh, and got my drink. Gotta have my drink. Gotta have my go juice. Now, as I said before, this is an idea I had from looking at an AI picture. And I've been thinking about it for a while, trying to figure out how I could make it work. And I think I've got it figured out, but I am figuring this out as I go along, so I may have to do things a couple of times to make it work. First thing I did was I went online and I went to this website where they have free colouring in pages. Of course, next door making noise. Please ignore that. And I found this picture. And I picked this one because it has the nice flowers here. And it's a fairly simple picture. Yes, there's a lot of parts, but it's just the character and flowers. This I can embroider on afterwards. So this is the one I have picked to use. So then I got a picture off the internet of the character, and I went through my stash and I found in 8-ply cottons, that's double knit, I think. I don't know what the weight is. I apologize. We don't work in weights here, so I don't know. So these are the colors that I have that are close to the actual colors the character has. So we've got the light and dark grayish purple colors. That's for his main body and the shadowing on his body. We've got a dark blue, which is for his, I've actually written it all here. The dark blue is for the, where's dark blue? This is for his nose, his paw pads and his claws. This dark purple is the inside of his mouth, like the roof of his mouth. This bright pink is his tongue. White is his teeth. And the black is the outlines for after. I may do all the black when everything's finished. And of course the purple is for, where's my purple? Inner ears. It's only on these inner ear parts that you have this light purple, which I thought was unusual. I thought there was more of it. So that's my colours, and I've decided, you can't really read it because it's one of the cheap hooks. I actually really like these hooks. They're pretty good. A 3mm hook. Most of these cottons recommend a 4, but because I'm going to want this quite tight, I'm going to go with a 3. So the first thing I did is I picked what part of this picture is the smallest thing that I would crochet. I originally thought it was the claws, but I think I might sew them afterwards. The teeth, maybe, but they could also be sewn afterwards. The smallest thing I was going to crochet would be the dots in the eye, the catch lights in the eye. So what I did is I worked out what that would be, and this is what I've done. That will be my catch light dot. And so I measured that with my measuring tape, and then I measured on the picture, and I think on the picture was 1 centimetre, on here was 1.5 centimetres. So I had to make my picture bigger. So that's what we did. So we take this one away, and this is our enlargement of the main picture. So this is 25% bigger. And the dots in the eye, they are still a little bit bigger, but this was the closest we could get with enlarging. So using that as a reference, that is going to be how I'm going to work out my sizes for all the pieces. So the next thing I'm going to do is I might pick one colour and make the pieces. Now, what do you mean by make the pieces? Well, what you got to do, well, what I think I've got to do, I'm going to make this all, if you've ever done something called paper towel, you've got to work from the back forward. I might do it in sections, like I might make all the eye pieces and put them all together, and then make the nose, and then make the face behind it so I can put them all together. This is going to be like a badge that goes on the bag, and I'm not even going to look at making the bag until the majority of this part I've made, because then I know how big I need my bag, how tall I need my bag. The flowers, I'm not really worried about the flowers. They look like hibiscuses. I think there's probably frangipanis here, and then these are just generic leaves. What I will do with them, I will make them three-dimensional afterwards. So I just need to leave that much space on the underneath bag for it to work. I'm not going to make them the same way as I make the character. So the way I'm going to work out my pieces is I have some more paper here, and I don't know if you can see it through there, but you can just see the picture underneath. So what I'm going to do, I will make another eye piece because I know how big that is. As I need each picture, I'm just going to draw around it. So for example, the eyes. The first thing I'm going to need is I'll need the big eye piece. Now this will be, I think this is black, this piece. This is what the little catch lights are going to sit on. So I'm going to draw them both because it's a drawing, they may not be the same size. I will probably end up crocheting them the same size, but I will draw them both. So I'm just going to write that he's facing me, so that is the left eye. And then I'll draw this one right next to it, just so that I can keep my picture clear, but I also have a size reference for all my pieces. Now these are not circles, I'm going to have to try and make ovals. So this is the right eye. And that's what I'm going to start with. Now, another thing to say, I'm not going to be writing a pattern for this. You will have this video, but your crochet may be different to mine. All I'm going to do is single crochets because I'm just making the flat shapes. I'm not making a three-dimensional thing. I mean, the flowers will be three-dimensional, and if you like, I'll put links to where I find the patterns for them. But this part will be just done in single crochet to fit the sizes that I draw off. And then we'll sew them together, and then we'll sew them to the bag once we have enough of this to know how big our bag will be. Right. So what I might do is I also might draw the catch lights. So there's that one. Now the thing also with ovals is that ovals can be sewn from a round circle. So we'll go, that one's the left eye, that one's the right eye. So this is my dude. It is a little bit bigger. I can decrease the difference. Can you see that? You probably can't. I'll bring it big enough a little bit. I can decrease that difference when I sew it onto the piece. So as long as I'm close and they're all bigger by their amount, I'd say what it is the stitching is actually on the line. It's just the top of the stitch has gone over. So it'll be all right. If it's slightly bigger, that's fine. This is just our guide for our picture. So that being said, I've got my little list here of all the different parts of him and what colours they've got to be. So I'll keep that on the side. I've got a picture over there on the computer of the actual character, not in this pose, but the actual character. So another reference for me to make sure that I have everything in the right place. I will keep that next to it, and I will start making the picture up. So what I'll do is I might make the other catch light, and then I might make these two eyes, and then I'll be back to show you what I do next. Okay, back. So I've done those, and they're pretty true to size. I have changed to a 2.5, but I'll keep the 3 here because not all these yarns are the same cotton, the same blend. Some's hobby yarn, some's portercraft, some's this word that I don't say properly. And I know I don't say it properly. I will practice. And I've also, in the meantime, I have written on this piece of paper what I did for each one. So like the 2 catch lights, they're just a magic ring with 6 single crochets and a needle join. For the 2 actual pupils, magic ring, 6 single crochets, single crochet increase, half double crochet increase, 2 single crochet increases, another half double crochet increase, another single crochet increase, and then the end done with a needle join. And I'm doing needle joins especially on the round pieces so that they will sew down better. I don't have a big chunk where the knot is. So there's those 2. So if we put them on our little picture, that's that eye and that's that eye. Forget the strings, they will vanish later on. This is our little catch light, and this is our other little catch light. So we've got those 2 done. So I'm quite happy with those. Like I said, I figured out that I need a smaller hook so that the sizes are more accurate. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the eye behind these 2 pieces. Now, according to my little bit I worked out here, where are we? Claws, nose, inner ears. No. Eye and eye dots are light blue. Ah, right, okay. So that means that this light blue colour is the catch lights as well as the back eye. That's all right. Let's move that up there so I can see. We're going to draw our next 2 sizes. Don't lose my thing. Don't lose my thing for the second time. So just move that aside so we can trace this. So I'm going to trace them on here. Now these are slightly different because these have a flat inside. Some of this I'll be able to do with hand sewing afterwards. You just have to be aware of it. That's why I'm drawing them. So this is our left eye. And this is our right eye. So that's all you need to do, is you just need to draw out the shapes individually as you go. Right eye. So put everything back how it was. Put our little pieces up in the corner so we don't lose them. So that's those. So we're now doing these. And also these little lines that are here and above that, I can do them with black afterwards. I'm not worried about the small lines. I'm worried about the big shapes. So these 2 here, they have to be in this blue. Also I wanted to say I'm using cotton because it doesn't stretch, or doesn't stretch as much as acrylic. You can do this with acrylic, just be aware it does stretch and it will distort with use. And this is going to be a handbag, so I don't want it changing too much on the user. And also I have never found any cotton to be not colour fast. I found some acrylics to be not colour fast, but cottons usually are pretty good. So that being said, let's get our blue again and make these ones. So what I might do is I will put a line around these so we know where each bit applies to. So that's for that one, and that's for that one. So these, I might start off with this because this has already made me an oval shape. We just got to make it a bigger oval shape. I may not try and get this flat piece here. I may sew the flat piece. So I'm just aiming, this one's probably a bit more accurate. I'm just aiming for an oval shape of that size. I can do the little changes and distortions when I sew them all together. So I will go and do this, and I'll be back when that is done, when I can find my mouse. There it is. So they're done. And what I did for these, they actually fit really good into the shapes, is we did the same pattern as for the first ones, the black ones, but then I added this row. And what I'll do is I'll point them out as I say them. So first thing I did was a single crochet, then we did an increase, then up here to make it the oval shape we did a half double crochet and a normal double crochet in that stitch, and then a double crochet and a half double crochet on that, so it slopes it up and makes the oval. Then we had single crochet, single crochet, single crochet increase, single crochet, and then we repeated the same 2 stitches, so half double crochet, double crochet, double crochet, half double crochet to put the oval at the bottom, and then single crochet and single crochet increase, and then we needle joined back to the first one. Yes, I have a little bit of a hump there, but it's just from the needle join is a little bit tighter than the rest. So that's those parts of the eye done. So if I lay them there, then we put the black towards the bottom, put the other black towards the bottom. So when I sew them, I'm going to have a little bit of the purple peeking out like in the picture. And then we want these little ones at the top. That's 1 and that's 2. Yes. So if you can imagine them without all the strings, those are our eyes all done. All the pieces of the eyes are done. So my next thing to make will be the nose, because to put it on the face, they've all got to fit on the face. So if I have all these pieces ready, when I make the face, we can make it fit. So my next thing to do is to put these, I'll put them over here. No, I don't want to wreck them. And get our piece of paper, and we're going to draw the nose. So I'll just, before I do that, I'll hold that up in case anybody wants to copy down my chook scratchings. Sorry about that, but I'm not planning on releasing this as a pattern, so I'm not writing it especially neat. So I will draw around the nose shape from the picture underneath. A bit wibbly, but it's close enough. And then I'll also mark these in. I'm not sure yet how I'm going to do these. These are his nostrils. We shall see. I'll make the nose part first and then work out the nostrils. Now that is almost a perfect circle. It's a little bit wider than it is tall. So I may do a similar thing as I did to the eyes, but maybe not quite as extreme. Maybe only stay with half double crochets on the last row. Something like that, but I will write it down when I get to it. We'll draw a line along there so we know that applies to that. And we'll do that. We check on here. So the nose is going to be the dark blue, this one. And the nostrils will be black. Like I said, I'll think about that while I make this up, whether they're going to be crocheted or sewn. It is possible I may be able to do them as tapestry crochet and then just smooth out the edges with sewing later. I'll have a think about that. I'll make up the shape first and think about the nostrils as I go, and I will be back when I have done that one. Okay, so I've just finished this. I thought I'd show you what I mean by a needle join. And also, all of these pieces so far are spiraled, so that's why there's no rows on here, because I'm just spiraling around. That's the way you make a lot of amigurumi and toys, so that's why I chose to do this way, because then there's no jump points, you know, big chunks. So the first thing I did, I'll take that out and start again, because I did it while I was talking, didn't I? Let me thread it up. What you do for a needle join, or what I do for a needle join, just in case there's another way to do it that I'm not aware of. I've done my last stitch, which is here, and I've cut it off the yarn, leaving myself a generous tail, and just pulled it through the last loop. So it's not secured, it's just pulled through the last loop. And I've threaded up my needle. And what I'm doing is I'm going through where we would normally do a slip stitch. I'm going through there, I'm pulling it down tight, and then I am going back through where that stitch came out of. But I'm also trying to catch some of the yarn from below, so that this will pull through and it will make a V on the surface to match everything else that's nearby. And it gives you a nice flat edge. So now I'm going through that stitch there and out the back. So that's now closed off. I turn my work over, and now I'm going to hide the ends. What I generally do until we get up to the sewing down part, I just bring this end down to where the end of the magic, where the magic ring is. Let me just pull that up because I pulled it too tight and it's made a chunk again. There we go, gone. So these two ends are just close together. I haven't secured the magic ring yet, but that is how I do a needle join. And all I did to make this shape is I also changed my pen because this one started dropping ink everywhere. We did a magic ring. Should bring that up, shouldn't I? I apologize. I did a magic ring, then I did the single crochet 6, and then single crochet increase times 6, that gives us 12. And then I did single crochet increase times 6, which gives us 18. And then a needle join at the end, which you just saw. Because I worked out that this shape is pretty much exactly right on. Yes, it's got a little bit out here, a little bit out there, but I can spread them when I sew. Like I said, I only have to get close to these shapes. I don't have to be exact because the yarn won't let me be exact. So if we place all these on the picture, that's his nose, that's an eye, and that's an eye. So we're getting somewhere. We are getting the shapes in. So that's what we've got done so far. Doesn't look like much, but we'll get there. We'll get there. So the next thing I want to do, I've decided also with this nostrils, I will put them on with sewing because that's the smallest circle shape I can make with the crochet hook, and that is smaller than that. So these will be a sewn on detail. That's the word I want. Sewn on detail when I put this together. So we'll just put him there. So that's the eyes and the nose done. Now the next bit is the face behind. Should I do the face bit or the ears? I'm thinking do the face bit because the ears tuck behind. So I'm working my way into the face. And what I might do is I might do this as an opening. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to work in a circle until it gets about this big. And then, would I do that or wouldn't I do that? Maybe I'll work it. Yeah, maybe I'll work it as a half circle. That might work better. Work it as a half circle until it gets big enough, and then we'll just do 2 lines of stitching like this to join his chin up. So it's all one piece, but we have an opening here. And that way I can put the tongue, the mouth, and the teeth behind the opening so it'll look more realistic. Yeah, I think I'll do that. So I'm pretty sure, I won't know until I start doing it, that this will be worked as a half oval shape so that we can put an opening in it for the teeth. So let me just draw this piece. I'm not going to really worry about this up here. If I think of it, I might draw it in, and if I think of it on the last row, I might just put a couple of loops there that we can make into a tuft of hair. Move. Thank you. So let's just draw around this piece. So we just want the general shape of the face, but what I might do is I also might mark on where the opening is. So we'll just go like that. I'll probably do that with some loops. Won't worry about those eyebrows because I will do them as embroidery when we put it all together. Now, he's got his arm in the way here, so I'm going to assume that this shape goes like that. I can't see it because his arm's on top of it. Same with over here. His arm's on top of it a little bit, so we're just going to assume. I know what they say about assume, but I have no other choice. So that gives me his general face shape. We also want to put in the size of the mouth opening. Just sketch it in, just lightly, so that we've got a guide for our shape. And just about everything on the face has been worked from a magic ring. I don't know if this will continue, but it's the easiest shape to make round shapes out of. I mean, it's not impossible to make it another way, but it's the easiest way. And I'm all for the easiest way. Okay, so that is the face shape. Put our picture back over here. So this little shape here, you put some nostrils on it, can be a duck, but anyway. What I was saying, I think because the nose sits about there, yeah, it's about there. So if I do a magic ring about there, you won't see it because the nose will cover it up. And so I will work as a circle, I think, out until it's about, trying to the biggest circle before I get to the mouth. So around that big, I think. So I could even use this pattern shape just to get me to this big. And then once I get to this big, I'm going to have to put corners here, I think. We'll have to create corners here so that we can go oval shape. But we'll need to make height here so it spreads out more of an oval. So I'll make the corners. I'll try not to make them wholly, but I'll do the best I can. And we'll get it to this shape, so it will be like a big half circle, semicircle, that's the word. That'll get us out to there. And then once we're out to there, then I'll do a chain and join that to that so that we now have an open mouth. That'll be a hole. And then on the last row, I'll put some loops here just for the little tufts of hair. Probably do picots. I'll probably do like a 3 picot or 5 picot and a 3 picot. And that way when it's sewn down, I can just catch them at the points and make little hair tufts. I think that's my plan. So as once before, I'll go and make this up and I'll write down the pattern as I go. But like I said before, I'm not releasing this as a pattern. If you want to work off what I'm doing here, feel free. I don't have a problem with that, but it's not a pattern. Don't complain me if it doesn't work for you. This is working for my pattern, my picture, my pattern, and my tension. Just covering my butt. Okay, so I shall do this. Actually, what colour is his face meant to be? His face is meant to be fur underneath. That's the mid-grey purple. Yes, it is. So it's the fur undermouth and chest. So actually this, okay, good thing I checked that. This here, from here down, is a different colour. And that this little patch on his chest is the same colour. So, good thing I checked. Maybe I'll just make that as a half circle. And then we'll do this as a separate piece. Okay. Okay, and then in his chest comes below. That's the same colour. Okay, good thing I checked. Right, I will go make this and I will be back. I'm back a little bit earlier because this one turned out to be a little bit more complicated than my plan. So I thought I'd explain it before I add the chin on. So what I did first is I did the nose instructions. So the ones this, and I put it there. So it's the same as the nose up until there. This yarn is only a 4-ply, whereas the others are 8-ply. It is a bit thinner. That's how you can see my shapes of my fingers underneath. And this is also a little bit more glossier yarn, which is fine. And I don't mind it being thinner for this piece because this is the back, the background, the face. So everything else will stand proud of it. And then what I did is that once that was done, I needed to work out where I wanted to start putting the mouth, the corners, to make this into a dome shape. Dome, half circle, that'll do. So in this corner, where are we? This is where I put the corners in, and my corners were 2 half double crochets, chain 1, 2 half double crochets. The 2 half double crochets are in one stitch, chain 1, and then the other ones are in the next stitch. So it's not a proper corner. There's 2 in each stitch separated by a chain. And so that gives me these 2 corners. Hopefully you can see them just here. And then from then on, I chain 2, went back, chain 2, went back, chain 2, went back. all the way out until it was the right size for my piece of paper. See, he does fit. He's a little bit out here, but when I put the chin on, that'll bring that in a little bit. And then the last row was just a single crochet row until it matched up to where the hair was. And I had a chain 3, a chain 3 picot, which is where you slip stitch back into the first stitch, a chain 5 picot, and then another chain 3 picot. And so it's a little bit hard to see the right side and the wrong side, but if the hair goes the right way, that'll help. So once I did that, I came down the bottom and then I turned it this way. Yes, this way. And work from this end to this end, just putting a slip stitch. You can tell it's the back because that's where the magic ring is. So I did slip stitches all along this edge just to firm it up. So when I attach the teeth, I can actually sew them to this slip stitch line and it makes it a bit firmer for an open mouth. So that turned out a bit more complicated than I said to begin with. Once I stop it being a circle, I move to half double crochets. Yes, it has spread it out, but if we put everything together, it won't be too bad because everything I put on this is quite dense. Put all our little pieces back in. The nose is bigger than that. I'm going to put the nose in the middle. You can actually see he's starting to look a bit like the character. That one there, bring that down, that one there, and then our 2 little dots. 1 dot there, and 1 dot there. So if you can ignore the strings, he's actually looking pretty much right for the shape we're trying to make, which I'm glad about because it's taking a while. So the next thing I've got to do is I've got to do the bottom part of his chin. Now, see how this is a little bit bigger than our shape? That is all right because, like I said, I'm going to put the mouth behind it. So we don't mind if it comes up a little bit, but the top is all accurate to the shape. So that is good. So what I think I'll do with this is I want to have a good edge on it. So I might join, not to the last row, but I might join to the row before. I'll do that as a chain. That way that's a nice firm edge. And then I will attach to here and I'll do this as a half double crochet. I think that's what I'll do because it's not very wide. So a half double crochet on top of a chain I think will be perfectly wide enough for it to look right. So I will do that. I will need another piece of paper to write the instructions on. I will hold that up so you can have a good look at what my chook scratchings look like. So that's that bit, and then that's that bit, and then we go over to this side. So that's how I made the shape so far. All right, so that's that one done. Now we go back to this one because the chin is the same color as the eyes were and the catch lights were. And I'll make that piece and I will be back when that's done. Right, we did it. We did it. There is our chin attached. And I'll tell you what I did. First, it's all written here. I'll bring that up so you can have a look. That way. All right, but I'll also tell you. First of all, we turn the work over. We attached our yarn to this side. Yes. No, we didn't. Did we or didn't we? No, it was this side. It was this side. I've already turned it over. We attached it to not the outside row. Bring it up. Not the very last row, the second last row. And we attached it to the side of the top of the stitch. Hopefully you can see that. It's right there. So it's not the outside row, that's there. It's right here. So we attach the lighter yarn to there, and then we chained 17 stitches and attached with a slip stitch to the top of the end of the same row on this side. Then we chained 2 and attached with a slip stitch to the very last one the very last one of this row here. Then we turn the whole lot over, and we did into the back bump of this chain. Now, if you don't know what the back bump is, each chain has 3 parts. It has the top V, and then it has the back bump. We are going into the back bump. That way there is a nice V, nice firm V line on the inside of the mouth to match the slip stitches on the top. And so what we did, well, what I did, not we, just me, or me and the cat, but anyway, we went into every back bump. We did 3, and then we did a half double crochet. They're all half double crochets, but an increase on every 4th stitch. And so we did that all the way around. You can actually see them. One there, one there, one there, and one there. And then the very last one is a single half double crochet, and then we slip stitch and secured to the top of the last stitch on that row. And if we get our other little paper, bit of paper back, it fits exactly where we want it. It is a little bit bowy, but that is fine because we're going to put the mouth behind it. So pick that up a bit so you can see. It fits within our lines. So that's what we want. So this is going good. This is going good. All right, so move that out the way. The next thing we want to do is I think I need to make this shape under here and the tongue. Now, because we can't see how big that is, my thought is to just do, I might do a chain and then an increasing chain, like single crochet, slip stitch, half double crochets, and then a few doubles, and then go reverse that here, and then another one over the top. I think that'll probably what shape I want to do. So we'll just, I've got to try and figure out my plan of attack before I do everything. I may not end up doing it that way, but at least I've got somewhere to start. So we'll just draw our shape. I'll just draw where we can see it. It can be slightly bigger so we can hide it. This is going to be fun to sew up. I don't know that I'll record the sewing up. Maybe I should. I don't know. It won't be really exciting for you to see because I'll have my hands in the way all the time. Alright, so that's the inside mouth shape that I can see. So that fits inside there. So if I put that there, I need to make sure that it's not that big because we don't want the inside of the mouth showing under the chin. Right, so it has to be less, at least on that edge, it has to be less than that wide. Okay, so next we look at our little thing and we want the inner mouth. Here we go. Inner mouth is the dark pink, so it's this one here. So I'll make that first, and then after that I might make the tongue. That way all the inside of the mouth is done. Like I said before, for the teeth, because they're so small, I think I'll be sewing them. So I need to get the mouth and the tongue all put together so that I can hang the teeth off the inside of the mouth. And hopefully that makes sense. Sounds weird, hanging teeth off the outside of the mouth. But anyway, let's get this inside mouth done, and then we can look at the tongue. So I think that's what I'll do. I'll do a chain. That way this is a nice firm edge. Then I'll do a shaped middle row. I may even do 2 shaped rows. See how much height it gives me. And then I'll do the top row. I'll be back when that's done, and I'll write it out as I go so that there is a record of what I did. All done. So here is my piece. And it fits perfectly onto the shape I drew. And what I did, it's all written here. I'll pick it up so you can see. It's all written in the corner here. But what I did was I chained 15 and then I skipped 1 stitch and I did this is working into one side of the chain. We did 3 single crochets, 2 half double crochets, 4 double crochets, 2 half double crochets, and then 3 single crochets. And then I'm actually at this end. I went the wrong way, but it doesn't matter. I still did it. And then I chained 2 and then turned my work so I was working on the other side of the chain, and then just repeated what I had done. So it's given me a nice flat piece so that I can put the tongue on top. It also fits really well under the face, like so. And what I also did, it's been annoying me a little bit with the catch lights. I know I did them first, and I did them with the other hook. Let's just put these bits on. So what I did is I remade the catch lights. Put the eyes on, put the other eye on when it all untangles. Better get rid of these threads soon. Driving me insane. So that's our face so far. And we had these ones, which, while they're the right size and everything, for them to be blue, even though it's accurate to the picture I'm working from, I didn't like them. So I made an executive decision, because I'm chairman of the board anyway, and I put them as white, which I think will look better. It's what you expect as catch lights. You don't expect them to be a colour, you expect them to be white. So that's what I did. So it's the same pattern, I just did them in white. So we've got the face, we've got the nose, eyes, and the inside of the mouth. So what I have to do next is the tongue. Now, the tongue. It has to fit that. So it has to, it's can go just a little bit over there, but it can't go all the way to the top. It's not going to be very big at all. What I might do is I might make 2 circles similar to the catch lights. Let's see if I can show you what I'm thinking. If I do 2 circles in the pink, like that, spread them out a little bit, I can then use the tail to connect them up. Or alternatively, it looks very similar to an infinity sign, so maybe I could make it as one piece but do 6 and then another 6, and then it would be the 2. See, it's got like 2 lumpy shapes. That might work. So what we'll do is we'll draw our piece, cut, draw on that. We want the tongue. So that is that, and that. So that's what I can see. So we're going to imagine it goes behind those 2 teeth. We're going to imagine it goes behind the bottom lip. We don't want it longer than the chin. So we'll draw our line between the 2. So that's the shape we want. That little line, I could probably do that with black after the fact. So we just want this shape. And of course the tongue is this nice bright pink we have here. So that will stand out quite well against the inner mouth without the blue. And I think, I do think starting off with the 2 circles is probably my best bet. Those 2 circles, or do we try and do it as high stitches come off a chain? It might look better coming off a chain, because then the stitches will be all this way. If I do it as 2 circles, it'll look like he's just swallowed pink lollies. I think I'll do it off a chain. So I'll do a chain here, and then we'll get the stitches height, getting the shape, and then we might come back over with either a slip stitch row or a single crochet row, just to give you the rounded shape. Yes, that's what I think I'll do, starting with a chain. All right, worked out what I'm doing, I'll go do it, and I will, where is it? There it is. Be back. All right, it's done. I'm not totally happy with it, but I think I can manage with it. It's because I've done it with double crochets. It's high, but it's not solid. I actually haven't written what I did. Oh my god! So we had 2 H double C's times 2. Then we had DC, 2 DC, and then we did a single crochet around the chain. Then we did DC times 2, DC on its own, a half double crochet, and a slip stitch right at the end. I'll just write end, you know what that means. So that's our shape. It does fit, it's a little bit smaller. It fits the top shape, but what we can do, let's double check. We put that there. We put that there where it's meant to be. And then we put the mouth over the top. And ta-da, we have a mouth with a tongue in it. This, of course, will sew down to the bottom, and that'll come up. And you'll also have the teeth sewn in there. So I think that will be fine. All right, so we put them up there with that. I'll hold this up so you can see my chook scratching of what I did for the tongue. And then we will put a line across there. And look at our next thing. And the next thing I should make, I think, is I should make the ears. And to make the ears, it's not going to be the easiest thing in the world. What I might do is I might draw the ears here. So first of all, once again, draw what you can see. This is quite a thick line, so I'm just trying to go into the middle of the line. And then that comes off there, and then that comes off there. So what I've got to think, I think this would keep coming down here behind his head, and I think this would keep coming like this behind his hand. This bit here is it's the inner ear. Inner ear is the light purple, this color here. Excuse me. So that's light purple, and this bit here is the outer color, which is this color here. So that's the darker purple, but this is also the right ear. We also need to draw the left ear, and this is the one with the cut in it, and we have to get the cut. We have to get the cut right, otherwise it's not the character. So we'll just draw in what we can see. All right, that's the bits we can see. I'm going to assume it goes like that behind there. I'm also going to assume that it goes like that behind his arm. Because I can't see them, I'm assuming. That's the bit we have to get right there. So take it out. So this will be light pink, or purple. This is the darker purple, and this is the left ear. Now, next thing to figure out is what direction our crochet is going to go in, because we want it to look right. With this, I think this part should have the stitches running like this. I could probably start with a circle here because you're not really going to see it, and then I can work off that, make that shape. So the same here, make a circle in the corner and then work off that shape. But with this one, how am I going to do that? Most ears are like they're cupped like that, so I could start off with a chain. Yes, I could start off with a chain, and I could work both sides of the chain, And that way, when we get high enough, it's going around in the shape that we want. So we want it like shell-like. Only thing is this cut, so I have to do what I can till I get to there. And then I say I'll have to turn and go back, which means I'm going to have to do the ear, I think, all in single crochet so that we can get the lines of the stitching. See, all my lines so far, like the mouth and the tongue, they're going up and down. The face is sort of like a circle, but if you remember, we're hiding the magic ring behind the nose. And there's eyes there, so it's not so obvious that it's a ring. But once we do the ears, they're quite a big part of the design. So we really have to get the direction of our stitches going the right way. So I think that's what I'll have to do. I think this piece will have to be worked around a chain, and this piece will be worked off a circle but then going that way. You have all the stitches lined up going that way. These I think can be like double crochets or half double crochets, whatever works to make the shape. Whereas what's inside the ear I think will have to all be single crochets, because we need them to show, we want our stitches to fill the shape, but we also want it to show the direction as well. And if we get them right, it'll look like it's cupping in like an ear. So that one's going to be a little bit longer to work out, and I think if I write down what I do, it's going to be quite a long pattern piece, but we shall see what we can do. And we also got to make sure, I might just mark it on here so we know where it starts covering up. That way if we have to get creative, so we can't see past there and we can't see past there. So those two lines, and on this one we can't see past there and we can't see past there. What was that one again? Yeah, so can't see past there and can't see past there. So they're my lines where I can hide bits I don't want seen. You know, like the magic ring to make this part, I can hide it because it will be behind another piece. Same with the magic ring on this one. So once the bits you'll see will be going in the right directions. Lot involved. So we're going to be using this colour and this colour to do this part. I do think they'll be in two separate pieces, and then I'll have to mattress stitch them together to make it look right. Mattress stitch will give me a join without giving me visible stitching, which is good. Good stitch to know. It does help if the stitches are the same size when they meet up, because they're easier to hide, but you're able to do it if they're not. So I will start trying to figure this out, and I will be back once I have figured it out. Bit of procrastination here, but I just thought I'd put all the pieces on the face and pin them so that we can see what they look like. And I think it's looking pretty good. Imagine the teeth and imagine the ears, but I think we're doing quite well, and it fits pretty much exactly on the picture. So I'm really happy. But anyway, back to making ears. Right, it's taken me a bit longer than I thought, but I have done the inside ears. That does reach there. I haven't done the outside. I only realised at the last minute that there is a nick out of this ear. I knew there was one on the other side, but the hand nearly covers this one. I thought I better put it in because I'm trying to do it dimensionally. You may see that. So I've done the insides of the ears. Now I've got to do the outsides of the ears. And what I was thinking I might do, instead of doing what I said on this bit of paper here, I might actually make that a piece and overlap it so it's adding the dimensionals. So these ones here are slightly too big, but because they're going to overlap, the bits that are too big are going to get hidden by the fold of the ear, if that makes sense. Hope it does. So this is what I did. I did the left ear first. That's the one with the nick out of the top. And where the star is where we start making the nick, because we go in rounds up until the star and then we do backwards and forwards so the gap opens up. So hopefully you can read that. I'll hold it still for a second in case you want to take a photo. Like I said, I'm not going to write this up as a pattern, so this is your only chance. And then for the right ear, once I realised that little nick is there, I did the left instructions up to the star, and then I rearranged it using all those, if you can read that, so that the cut is in the right place. Both of them I finished off with a needle join so that there's not a big chunk like this one's up here, because I wanted it to bow out a little bit. So it's half single crochets and then at the last couple of slip stitches. And this one, the needle join is here because I had to do this curved over and put the point here. So I just added a bit more bulk there and the needle join is there. So that's the two inner ears done. I'm going to try and get the little fold bit of the ears done today. I don't know if I'll get back to this today. It's getting pretty late. If I don't, I'll get that done, and I'll also try and sew this face piece all together so I can take the pins out and we can see what we're doing. I don't know that I'll get up to putting the teeth in, but I'll at least get all the pieces on and the extra strings hidden away. So I'll go and try and do the flap of the ear. If I can come back before the end of the day, I will. Otherwise, I will see you tomorrow. I did it. They're there, right there. I figured out a way to make this one first and then realized if I just flipped it, it works for the other one. So bonus. So this is the instructions. What I might do with all these chook scratchings is I will either scan them or take a photo of them so they're really clear, and I will put them in the community tab for those people who want to read my chook scratchings. Like I said, and I've said it more than once, I'm not putting this out as a pattern because this is me freestyling. This is me trying to figure out how this is going to work. So they're all done. I think that'll do for me today. I'm getting a bit stir crazy and it's pretty late. I will try and sew all these up maybe tonight. So the next time you see me, this will all be together. I might even get the teeth done. We'll see how we go. And then all we have to do after that, I'll shift you up a little bit, is the body and the hands. I am going to sew the claws on. I think I've figured out how I can do that. And the little paw pads, we can crochet them because they're bigger than the marks in the eye. So that's fine. And then his whole body will be done. So that will be all one piece next well, won't be all one piece. This will all be one piece. We'll do that next time. And in the meantime, I also might find some flowers that will turn out the right size for this. So I'm going to count on these ones on the edge being frangipani, so they'll be in white and yellow. And these ones here is hibiscus, so they'll either be oranges, yellows, or reds. Depends on what yarn I can find in my stash. So that'll do for today, and I will be back next time. Okay, so I'm back, and it's about 2 days later, not 1 day later, but anyway, I've sewn all the pieces together, so it's one piece. I can just pick it up. Yes, this ear looks like it's about out a bit further than it should be, so I may just tuck that in when I go to sew it up, but also his hand will be over that part of the ear, so I may be able to fix that. And the way I sewed all these pieces together is that I did back stitch with cotton that matched the colour. That way you can't see my sewing, but what I'll do is I will turn it over and you might be able to see, like here, I don't know if you can see them, they're very small. Yeah, just there, on the blue, the cotton was slightly different colour to the crochet cotton colour, but that is why I used the actual cotton to do that, because it's goes invisible. So I tried to match the ear placement as best I could. That one's pretty much spot on. This one is a little bit small, and yes, I did notice the cutout there. So I may have to stretch this one when I sew it onto the bag, but it's the best I could do. I'm making it up as I go along. Anywho, the next thing I have to do is I have to make his body. Now, looking at it, this is his belly, which is the same colour as his chin and his eyes. Oh, pick that up. So, where are we? Chest. So, undermouth, chest, and eyes are all the same colour. So, that's this bit here. And the arms, they are the darker colour. So, looking at it, I think I will make these, and I'll try and make them as like I did the ear pieces, not these pieces that have notches at them, but these pieces. Make them so I can flip them over and use them both sides. Maybe. It depends on whether I work it in rounds or in rows. I haven't quite decided yet. And also I wanted to show you this. This took a lot of working out. I had already made the back and the tongue, if you remember from the first part, but I hadn't worked out the teeth. And I also didn't want them so big because this part fit. So I needed to put the mouth in, I need to put all the pieces in without it getting too big. So what I ended up doing is making a chain in white and then just doing, the little ones were half double decreases. So 2 half doubles done together and then chain back to the chain. And then these ones were double crochets. And then I put a slip stitch between them so there was a gap between the teeth. I mean, they're not perfect, but I think it's pretty good. And also when I go to sew it on the bag, it will push out a little bit and be a bit more 3D. At least that's the plan. I am planning to put some interfacing behind just because I haven't been weaving the ends in. I've just been cutting them short. So when I come to putting it on the bag, I'm going to put a light interfacing behind just to hide all these ends in. If I'd have wove the ends in, I think it would have made it too stiff and I still needed a bit pliable to be able to finish doing the rest of it. This was just satin stitch. This is the nostrils. Really kind of hard to see, but I did follow the line that was there. And that was all the bits I did in between the first bit and now. This ear does look smaller, but it does fit. It's a little bit short, but there is a like a corner at the top, so I can stretch that. This looks so much bigger than that, but I was following the shape. But like I said, the hand's going to cover over it, so we might be all right. So to work out that, what I could do this in rows, this one here. Maybe I will do that. And of course, we're going to have the flowers over the top, so I just need to get it slightly bigger down here. Where's my pencil? Here we go. So I'll draw that piece. Just like that. Doing it the same way as we did the face. This piece here, I'm going to draw what I can see first. And that's where his chin is. Now, I'm not going to draw over the plants, but what I'll do is I'll do like a curving shape because the two flowers, they join about here. So if I can get this piece down to there, the join of the flowers will cover up the bottom of this shape. And I'll just put that there so I know that that's the middle of the front. All right, so that's his tummy. Now, the arms. I might draw them at the same time. So, see his chin. What I'll do first, I'll draw what's here. But what I'll do is I'll do a lapping line, an overlapping line. So I know where I can add a bit more so that what I'm putting on top of it, it can be hidden, if that makes any sense. Now, these individual fingers might not work too good. I'll do my best. I may have to start with the hands so that I get the fingers in. Right. I will draw the fingers, but I may do them separately. We will see. Just draw that and that one. I also need to put them so I know the placement. And then there's this little bit here, and I'm pretty sure that's the dark blue. All right, so that is his right arm. And now we need the left arm. So I'm going to draw these both out, because once I do these pieces, that's all the pieces of the character's body. Only thing after that is the flowers at the bottom, and then I can start making the bag. And I am making this as a Christmas present, so I've got to keep moving on it. So this, and then that. And then we'll just put those marks there so we know where... Oh, I put my own shadow on my line. Go to here, and then we'll put that, because that's that plant, the leaf. Alright, so that's like that. And then that's like that. Trying to think how I would do these claws. I really don't know. Because we need them to have points, otherwise they're not claws. And then that little bit in the middle. Alright, so that is the left, oops, not a 4, left arm. Alright. So that's what size they need to be. Bring them up here so you can see it better. That's the size they need to be, and these marks here are the overlapping bit. So I will have to draw in the bits I can't see, but I know that that's going to be overlapped. And then I've got to figure out the claws. I'm not really sure how I'm going to do the claws. I'll do this bit first, because that looks like the kind of the easiest one to do first. It should look like it's protruding out. So what I might do is I might do some little decreases here. I might do it in a half double crochets, because it will be this light blue, and that's a thicker yarn. Remember I said before, all these yarns are different, so I have to work out thicker and thinner to make things work. So yeah, I might start on this bottom row and put some increases coming up there. Yeah, I might go the other way, because this is all staying, this is all fairly the same till about there, and then it expands, because that's when I'll start putting increases in the middle. Yeah, so that's what I'll do with that one, and then while I'm doing that, I'll think about these. So I might come back when this one's done, just to show what I've done, and I'll write up the instructions, and then I may have a better plan for the hands. Okay, so this bit's done, and it fits. Not shaped as nicely, but it does fit the shape. Shaped as nicely. As I said before, the points I can do with a sewing thread and needle. And all we did was we chained 8, and then we turned and we worked into the back bump. That way we've got a nice edge. So 7 single crochet rows for 2 rows. And then we started putting the 2 single crochet increases. There's 1, and then there was 2. And then after that we started decreasing and skipping stitches on the side. Now I'll bring this up and hold it about there for a little bit. Yes, I know it's all mashed in together. There's not separate rows. I am writing this as I do it. It's not a proper pattern, but gives you some idea of what I did. So that little piece there will sit there, and his chin will go on top of it, and that's his belly done. And with the hands, I still haven't really figured that out. I'll just cross that off. what I'm thinking I might do is I might try and make the hand first. I don't know. I'm going to have to play around with this. I will come back when I've finished one of them and tell you what I figured out. All right. As you can see, I have an arm. I got one arm. What I decided to do is I thought I'd start with the paw pad, and that would give me something to hang the fingers off. Because if I just worked the fingers, it would be too flimsy. So I just did a magic ring of 6, magic ring with 6 in it. And then the first row was just 2 in each one. And then when I got back around to here, I chained up 4 and then single crocheted back 3. Chained up 4, single crochet back 3 until I got back here. And then we went around once more. And this time I'm doing single crochet, 2 single crochet, single crochet, 2 single crochet, so it stays flat. And then when I got back over to here, working just in the back loops, I slip stitched up the side of the loop that was left from the chain and then down the stitches just to firm up the edge and round it off. So when I sew it down, it's got a nice, not firm, but a good amount of yarn there that I can do sew the claws to, and did that all the way around. And then this first stitch I got back to the hand, I did through both loops, but it's still a slip stitch, but through the both loops. And then we did 2 slip stitches, and then I worked sideways like this down to here, decreasing on either side so it gives him his thicker wrist, that's the word. And then when I got to here, I decreased until I was down to 3. And then I worked this way. So I skipped the first stitch, slip stitched the second, and then chained. And then I worked along the edge of the wrist to make the side of his rib cage. So that's how I did that hand. And it's pretty close to the right size because it tucks under his chin. And then the hand goes on the top of the ear. And it's pretty close. So I'm happy with that, and that gives me a basis to make the other hand. I will do the same thing with the paw pad, hang the fingers off it. It has to come the other way, which means that everything will be on the other side, which is fine. I can do that. And I'll be back when that's done, and it will be about the same way. Once that's done, I can look at the flowers, which is cool. All right, I've done the second hand, which is right here. What is unusual about this is that this hand and this ear are quite a bit bigger than this hand and this ear, which I hadn't noticed, but we did it and it fits, and I think it looks pretty good. So what I was going to do now, I'm not going to sew these up here because I don't want to. So I am going to get the yarn I want to use for the bag, which is this one. And I am going to start off the bag so that, because now that the majority of him is done, I've got the width. I'll just move this across, otherwise you can't see what I'm talking about. So I know my bag needs to be at least this wide. The height, I'll just keep going up until it's covered up this much. I think I want the bag probably about that much, so at least an inch bigger than the design, so that none of this is on the edge of the bag and gets caught as it's being used. So, of course, the measuring tape's right out of reach. We need to make sure the width of our bag is at least 25 centimeters. Yeah, I may even get to 26, but 25 at least. And the way I'm going to make it is, this is quite thick, and I have 2 balls of this yarn. Trying to figure out whether I want to do it doubled or not. Thing is, I may run out. I think hang on a minute, I might get the other ball and we'll have a go with it doubled and see what it looks like. Okay, now I got my other ball of wool, so I've got 2 balls of this wool, and I also had a brainwave while I was looking at it. I have this, and this is the exact right size. So what I could do is I could use this for the base, which will give us a nice hard-wearing base, and it means I can go straight onto the body using the doubled up yarn. That way the bag is going to be more, what's the word, not stronger. It's a more structured bag. If I can use it doubled, it means it's stronger. Because this is cotton. This is 100% cotton. And this is actually like a rough cotton. So the thicker I can make it, the better it'll be for the bag and its longevity for the person using it. So we'll move this out the way. And I will get this bag started. And sorry, I'm talking while I'm thinking and doing while I'm talking. I don't want to mess him up. So I'll put it over here and get that out the way and find the middle of this yarn, which is right there. Geez, I'm on a roll today. So together, these are 2 8-plies. And so together, they don't make 16, they make about 10, which is fine. And 10-ply, you usually use a 5.5 or a 5 to a 6. The thing is, I want this quite tight, so I'll probably be using a 4 or a 4.5, depending on how well I get it through these holes. So the first thing I want to do is I want to start at an edge, and we want to start it so that we can have an invisible join. Now I need a size 4 crochet hook. I'm not really organized. I'll go and get it. All right, so I have my 4mm hook. I've got the yarn doubled, held it together. Now it seems to be quite a bit thinner than what I thought, so I may have to restart this with another thread with it, but we'll see how we go. So first thing I do is I've just pulled a loop through. I haven't tied a knot on this. I've just left enough that I can keep a hold of it as I go, and just pull your first one through. Now, because this is a curve, we will need to put a couple of extra stitches here. What I like to do is I like to do the one in line with the corner diagonals. So it'd be that one, that one, that one, and that one. And then I might do one, say, there. And if it's that one, probably there. So I've got 4 increases on the curved parts of the bag base, just so that we can get around the corners without it pulling in. And all I'm doing, making sure this doesn't get too loose, is I'm just doing a single crochet stitch all the way around. So now that was my first one. I've just done 2, so we want to put 2 in this hole. Try and keep this on the table where you can see it. Now I'm not worried too much at the moment about placing my yarn. I'm just trying to get it on the base, and then the next row we'll sort out stuff like that. So that's the 2 stitches in the one hole there, and then we've got 2 more stitches, and then we're going to put 2 in this one because this one is diagonally in line with the corner studs, which will be under the most stress. Oh, let's try that one again. Be under the most stress if there's something in the bag. So that's our first couple of stitches. So from here to here, they'll just be single stitches, and then I'll do double, 2 stitches, double, be 3 stitches, double, and then all that, and I'll come back when I get back around to this stitch. Okay, so I am back all the way around, and I forgot to say before, this is the bottom. This is not the inside. They're the little stud things to keep the base off the ground. This is the inside. So I'm keeping the outside towards me because the outside's what I want to be the good side. And also I put a double stitch at the other end here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 increases on each corner. And now I am back to where I started. Now I may not be able to do this right the first time, but the principle will be right. So there will be 2 stitches into the first hole. Now try and separate them so they got their own bees. Now I pull that a little bit higher, and then I want to bring the hook in from the back. We want to place this loop on there, and we want to pull that to the back. So I've done that. Before I go any further, I'll just show you what I've done with the string. I went over the last couple of stitches, I went over this yarn, and what I'll do when I'm all finished, or when I've done a couple of rows, I'll come back and I'll weave this through so it's in securely. That way we don't end up with a knot here. All right, so that's now out of the way so I can finish doing the join. So this bit here, a little bit difficult, but it should be doable. So I've just twisted that over, and then what I want to do is push my, this is quite difficult. I'm going to go through here, but I'm not going to go through where the, hopefully you can see. I've got something to mark it with. There we go. I'll use that. So this loop, this part here is the loop coming through. I've gone underneath that. And then we want to put the hook through there, pull everything as tight as we can, and then we want to bring that all through here. So what that does is it puts my join at the back. I do a single loop, and then I go on to the next stitches. Hopefully that was clear enough. That's how you get an invisible join when you're doing waistcoat stitch on a bag. And that's what I'm doing here. See how I've got my V's here? I'm going between the V and just pulling up a stitch. Now that first one, he will hang over until we get all the way around again. Don't worry about it. It will be all right. Make sure when you do the increases that you split the right V into the base. And if you can see it, it's making like knitting. That's what waistcoat stitch is. It looks like knitting. And yes, it is hard on my hands at the moment. That's because the base doesn't bend or flex with me. Once I get a couple of rows on, it will be easier. So there's our first couple of stitches. And we just keep going around. And it will pull in, and it will pull around this edge and start going up. So I'll pause and I'll come back when I've done a bit more. All right, so I've done the first row and I'm back to the start again. Now, I was just going to show you, as I've been going around, I've been tipping it over the edge, just pushing it down with my fingers as I went, so that the first row will sit up like this ridge. It's made a ridge. Yes, my hands are hurting a little bit, but it's because I haven't done this for a while, so please forgive me. So we're joining up our row again. So we just want to make the room here, and we want to come in there. Hopefully you can see that. Yes. Excuse me, it's bourbon. And then we pull it through to the back without splitting any stitches, which it's trying to. We'll do that again. It's split a stitch. It happens. So pick it up. Make sure we got the right ones. Take away the extra slack. That might help. Yes, that did. Pull it tight. See, this here is not an actual stitch. It's just basically a slip stitch. Now, I usually just put a twist in it so that I can get the next one. Now, you can see just in there's a little bit of thread. I'm trying to get under that without pulling the top one out. And then hang on, I've got to make sure I put that on first. So we put our loop on, and then we want to pull this through both of them. Try again. Put the loop on, and then pull through both. Well, I got one, but I didn't get the other one, so I've got to do it again. Pull through. There's that. Pull it tight so we can hide it. Pull that there, and then pull both of them through. I think I got it this time. Yes, so pull that through, and that makes another stitch. Do a chain, and then start again. So that chain pretends to be the next stitch. Now all of these stitches will be in line unless I do another increase. I don't intend to do another increase. It depends on how well they sit together. If they sit too gappy, I may pull it out and put a few more increases in so that the fabric that I'm making is thick enough to cover holes. So we're just going in the center of each V and pulling the thread up. This is not a single crochet. This is called waistcoat stitch. Straight in the middle of the V and pull it through. It's a variation of single crochet, and you could do single crochet, but I like this stitch for baskets because it gives you a firmer finish. I think I just split the stitch there. It's a problem with this loosely spun yarn is if you split the stitch, it wants to keep splitting. So where they cross, you're going to go in and then pull it out and then bring it across. And I hope you can see the little V's that are starting. As we get higher, they'll settle in. The side will come up. Now, once the side is about that thick, you've got to watch your tension that you don't pull it in too much. We want the sides of the bag to go straight up, not come in like a big butt. So I might do some more, and I'll come back when I've done a fair bit so we can see the sides staying straight, hopefully. Okay, I've only done one more row, but I have found out a new way to join this. I'll try and bend it down enough so you can see. So I'm back to where I started, and this new way to join is a lot easier. So we've got our loop on our hook, and then we need to go into not the chain one we did. We want to go into the V stitch. If I can separate them. Separate, there we go. So we pick that up, so that's going to look like a normal stitch, and then we want to take the back loop. So we've got that's come through there, the back loop of the next stitch, and we pull through the lot. That's a bit wonky, but it's right. So what I'm going to do to fix that, I need to get these stitches to be closer together. So just squish them around and then do this again. So we've got our last stitch here. I'm trying not to make that too tight, otherwise I won't be able to get into it next time. And then in through there, that's the V of the previous row on the joining stitch. So I got that. And then the back loop of the next stitch, and then pull through the lot, and there we have our join, and then we just carry on like so. So when I come back next, I know it's a little bit hard to see, but I will be going in to here, this V here, and hopefully I can straighten it up a bit. There we go, that's better. So yeah, when I come back next, it'll be going into that one and the back stitch of that one. And we will just keep going around. Now what I've done also, if you notice, I hold it like that, you can see it's cupping a little bit. That's because the holes on the base are spaced. But once you're off that, it wants to be as tight as your crochet hook. And what I might do even as well, this is a 4. I may get a 4.5 just to loosen up my stitching, because this is cotton. It's going to compress down a little bit. So what I might do is I might just undo that one stitch. And for the rest of this row, I might go to a 4.5 and just see if that makes it a bit better. I'll be back when I'm at the next join and we can see how the 4.5 went. All right, I've done another row, and I've also done it with the 4.5 hook. It was quite hard because the thinner hook had tightened the stitches up, but I've managed to loosen them up enough. And if you're ever going to do this, don't use the yarn I used because it's not mercerized, it's not twisted enough, tight enough to get through easy. So I'm just going to do this join again. So you got to keep this one as tight as possible, and then you want to go into the V on the previous row, pick up a loop. All right, keep the first loop as tight as possible. It doesn't matter about the second one, but the first one you have to try to keep it tight, and then you use this one to pull through the lot. That's a better one. So make sure we can see the V for the next row, and then we just carry on when I can get the hook through. Because it's the first one past the join, it's pretty tight. There we go. All right, so for next thing I just thought of, you're going to say, why didn't you start with a 4.5? But I wouldn't be able to get 4.5 through the holes to make the beginning. When I'm a bit further along, I'll come along here and close up these holes with a slip stitch just on the surface. I might show that, I might not, I don't know. But I'm not going to keep coming back every row because that's going to be really boring for you. I'll come back when I've got a fair bit done. Maybe I'll come back when I'm about to do this, show you how I do that. And that'll do for recording today. So next time you see me, a lot more of this will be done. Well, I finally got back and I'm got quite a bit done while I've been gone. First of all, this is all done. Hold it up. I ended up just doing like daisy type flowers. I mean, I know it's hibiscuses on there, but with the thickness of yarn that I'm using, I couldn't get enough detail to make them visibly hibiscuses. So I just went with little daisies. And so these is the pattern I used. This is to make the leaves, which are down here. And then this is the way I made the flowers. And like I said before, if you want, I will put a photo of these scratchings on the community tab if you'd like to make your own. But this is not a pattern. I must keep saying that. This is not a pattern. This is just what I've worked out as I went around. Also, I have done the bag. And what happened was that from the base to the top, I didn't have enough space for the design, so I had to add some more rows at the top. Totally planned, really was. And also, when I left last time, we had a different setup here. This yarn I'm using split quite badly, and so the waistcoat stitch really was too difficult to keep going with it, so I pulled it all out. I did 2 stitches in each hole, and then on the third row, if I bring it up, you should be able to see them. Just here, do you see these little bumps? This is where I did the decreases once I'd turned the corner. And then from then on, it was just in a spiral doing single crochets. So we now have enough space on here for the design to fit comfortably. So I folded my pattern piece so that there's enough room on the bag for the design to be centered without any of it hanging over edges, which you don't want because it'll catch on everything. So that's really cool. Now, move all my pieces of paper out the way. The last thing I want to do is I want to put a firmer top on the bag. Get all my stuff out of the bag. So I thought I would show you how to do the crab stitch. Now, crab stitch is an edging stitch, and because I'm going to put a lining in this, I need to have a good edging so that it can attach to it. So all I've done, this is my single crochet. I've just done 2 slip stitches just to smooth the edge off. Can you see them? There's just one there and one there. And all you need to do for crab stitch, 1 stitch for height, and then you go backwards like that. So we've now picked it up and you pull through backwards. Now I think we want to go there. Yes. And what it will do, you want to keep pulling this so it's not going over the ridge you just did. It's got to make its own ridge, like so. And you just do that all the way around, and that is the last row with the bag. So I don't need to do the whole thing of this on here. So I'll just do that one and I'll put the marker in there. And I'll show you. Got my hand over it at the moment, I know. So there is the crab stitch. So when we go all the way around, we'll go into this one and then we'll slip stitch into that piece there, and that'll make a final ridge and it will be all done. And that will be the whole bag finished. Now, just so I can show you, the little dude sits here. Bring this up a bit, hopefully, maybe if I tilt it. Having the base in the bottom doesn't help to show you under the camera. I line up the inside of his ears to where the colour change is. So that's him there, and then that is the flowers. His hands will be on top of the flowers. And there he is on the bag. So what I have to do after I finish the top edge is I have to pin this down where I want it using my picture as reference, and then secure all the edges and sew in the nails and any highlights I need to do. I will do that, and I will also make the lining. They didn't have any Lilo and Stitch, well, sorry, they didn't have any character fabric that was appropriate at the shop. So I got this one because he's supposed to be from space, so I thought that would kind of work. And then I'm going to put a zip across the top so that the bag can stay open and not close up, give it a bit more room to put stuff in. So I will make the lining as well, and I'll figure out a handle. And we are just about finished, so there'll be one more update and then that'll be all. Right, I'm finally back. This is the last part of how to make the bag. And first thing I want to say is that I'm going to show you how I did the name first, because that's what's on the bag at the moment, and as soon as I go to show you, you'll see it anyway. So all I did with the name, because I wanted the letters to look the same size and the same spacing, it's quite difficult to space them out, measure them, because they're curved as well. So what I did is I put a piece of paper and I drew them. I drew them so you could see the height and the thickness and stuff like that. So I drew them on a piece of paper and then I placed them on the bag. I also drew on the piece of paper where the hairline was, where the ears were, and then I drew them on a piece of paper and sewed through the piece of paper, as you can see here. And the stitches I did a back stitch all the way around, and then I came back through and just whip stitched through my stitches. With the paper there, I'm not catching the bag, so it will make them stand proud. So take the paper off, and this is why I did it this way, so that I can just tear the paper away from the stitching, because each sew line has perforated the paper, and it comes away fairly easy. I'm going to have to watch that knot there though. So you tear it away as carefully as you can, and it stabilizes the stitches so they don't get too tight into the fabric as well. So just keep pulling it away. Pull it away in little pieces. Don't try and get it all at once, because you won't. And because I did reasonable size back stitches. The paper pulls out from either side quite easily. So I'm not going to pull all that out now, but that's just to show you how to do your lettering. And you see it's standing pretty close to the size. And also I've done all of the embroidery. What embroidery? Applique? Yeah, applique. I also put stuffing behind the head here, make this a bit more three-dimensional. And I sewed the very back of the back of the mouth. Yes, you can see that. That line along there, that's actually sewn to the bag so that it hangs his tongue out and it hangs his teeth, you know, like I can put my finger in there. I'd put a little bit in his belly to give him a bit of a rounded belly. And all the edges have been sewn down in coordinating thread. And I'm very happy with how it looks. I also decided with the strap, I actually got a man's belt. So this kind of a belt buckle, you pull it up and the more weight gets put on it, the stronger it is. To loosen it, you've got to take the weight off, which I thought was rather good. And last but not least, I have made the lining. Now, hopefully I can push this up a little bit. Nope, I can't. Let's see. No, I can't. Okay. I'll have to show you then. What I've done with the lining is, like I said, I made it so that it'll sit into the top and keep the bag open. And I've put a zip across the top and worked out how so that the colour is right. Yes, you can see that, but that's going to be pulled right up to the corner, and I'm going to sew along this edge to the top edge of the back. So that'll just tuck into the bag. And I'm not going to do it yet because I've got to make sure it's the right way, because if she's right-handed, I've got to put it so that it can be pulled from the right. So this will just stitch to there and then all the way around that sew edge, which will be the strongest part, just below the crab stitch edge, all the way around, and that will secure it into the bag. So that is basically it. I just got to take the paper out of here and sew that on, and we're all done. Finally. This has taken me quite a while because I've been wanting to do it properly, you know, take my time, do it properly. And it's about 3 days from Christmas, so I'm cutting it pretty fine. I've still got to wrap it. I also got all these little things to put inside the bag. Little hair ties with stitch on them and a little wrist thing. And what I also did, I didn't tell you, is I've made a little pockets piece in here, and I'll be putting those things in the pocket. So it's a nice little surprise as well as the bag. So that's all for now, and I'll be seeing you at the ending. And here it is, all finished. And it's only about 3 days to Christmas, so I made it. It's all been sewn in and together, and I'm really happy with how it's turned out. And I hope the tutorial was clear enough so that you can make your own, or even one similar. You be inspired by this, or whatever you'd like to do. And I will see you on the next video, and have a good Christmas.